sustainability of our environment. Kia ora, Mr. Speaker.
Kia ora. I call the Honourable Philip Heatley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I stand to support the Crown Minerals Permitting and Crown Land Bill, and I stand alongside the Labor and the Green Party in support of past miners. But unlike the Labor and the Green Party, I'm also interested in present jobs in the mining and petroleum sector and future jobs in the petroleum and mining sector. The Labor Party, which was built out of the West Coast mining sector, of course, they've turned their backs on them now. The interesting thing, of course, is that the Labor Party and the Green Party will take the royalties. That's right. When they're in government in the distant future, I'm sure they will be 10 or 20 years from now, they will take the royalties and they will take the taxes collected off the backs of the mining jobs, tens of thousands of them across New Zealand. They'll collect the royalties and they'll collect the taxes and they will spend that money, which is the interesting thing, isn't it? They're very interested in the income, the royalties and the taxes of the mining and petroleum industries. They're very interested in the idea of spending that money, but they oppose the industry at every single turn. And I have to ask why, when you consider, Mr. Speaker, on the west coast of the South Island and, of course, in the Taranaki, you've got two regions there which have very successfully developed their mining industry. I take Taranaki, for example. In that area there, they have the largest industry, the agricultural industry, the dairy farming industry, working alongside the second largest industry, the petroleum industry, working alongside a very successful tourism industry in the Taranaki. So there you have one region in New Zealand where petroleum works alongside dairy farming, works beautifully alongside tourism, and it's very successful indeed. In fact, in terms of job growth and GDP, you'd struggle to beat Taranaki. And my question is to the Labor Party, why cannot that success, working alongside petroleum, dairying and tourism, not be reflected in other regions in New Zealand? Another 16 regions in New Zealand where agriculture is successful, so is tourism. Why can't the oil and gas sector be successful like they have been in the Taranaki? Well, there's no reason. I wouldn't say that it'd be able to happen in every region, but surely there's a second and a third and a fourth and a fifth region in New Zealand where those three sectors can work closely and successfully together like they have in the Taranaki, and the Labor Party can run off with the royalties and spend them the way they will do when they're in government, well, one day, Mr. Speaker, and that's why I support this bill. And I would like to point out and thank the Minister Simon Bridges and his colleagues, Nick Smith from Conservation and Amy Adams, of course, from Environment, because they've actually done more for public safety and the environment when it comes to oil and gas and mineral exploration than in the previous 10 years under the Labor government. For example, we've got the Crown Minerals Act at the moment going through with enhanced regulations around health and safety and mining and petroleum. The EZ legislation, there were no rules out in the EZ before this government came into force, and of course the new regulations on health and safety which are working their way through the system. So, Mr. Speaker, I support the Crown Minerals Permitting and Crown Land Bill. It's good to see this industry promoted. I'm glad that we've listened to Pepans, the Minerals Association, Stratera and many others, and we're taking on many of their recommendations. I recommend this bill to the House.
I call the Honourable Member Andrew Williams.